patient with me. Let me see. Patience is a virtue, or patience is a virtue, just like my son says. I'm just setting everything up. Okay. Patience. Let me see. Patience is a virtue, or patience is a virtue. Let me see. Let me see. Something is going on. Okay. Great. Okay, so how's everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing great. Today I am actually going, wow, that's a cool background. So I have a guest today, and I just wanted to start sharing with you guys. You guys have seen my previous post and videos where I've had people in here who are going to share their truth. And this is a platform of learning and just understanding and actually relating to real people, real conversations, telling our truth. And before that, everybody actually knows me as Miss Rosa or Latina Mommies or something else, whatever it is that you call me, is a lot of you guys know me. But so I actually haven't done a YouTube video in a little bit, so I apologize for that. But to give you guys an update, it's just I've actually have been dealing with a lower back issue, and a lot of, if you guys see me at work or even at school, you guys can actually understand that I've had lower back issues to the point where I actually can't even walk. And I know you guys might say, hey, you're too young to deal with that, but there are some things that I just can't understand. So no doctor has been able to help me. However, I've been learning, I've been educating myself, and I've been going to physical therapy, and I've been going to my chiropractor, and just learning how to work out without weights and still keep going with my health. And that's very, very important. So one lesson about that is that even though I haven't been able to work out how I used to, I don't give up eating healthy, and I still do my core workout. So I try to get my core to be stronger so my lower back doesn't give out so often. Also, it's about how you sit. Some of us like just hunch like this, and that's actually bad for our back. So you have to have a good posture, and also not bending too much, lifting heavy things. I've learned that, so I can't do that. So if you're having no more back pain, you can hit me up, because I think I have many ideas of how to solve it. But on that note, I wanted to let you guys know about Kyle Dean. He's actually our guest today. And say hi.
Hey, how we doing, guys? How we doing?
This is so cool. I actually like your background. I'm gonna have to figure out how to steal that from you, but my background is a little bit more real,
I love your background. It's so cool.
This is
Wow.
pretty real, handwritten.
I
But
love
yours is
that.
more like technology.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
which is
like your background. It's very inspiring.
those are my goals, my dreams, my wants.
I
And
love that.
yeah, this is pretty cool. So you can read it, you can figure out. If you have any questions, you can ask me too.
I love the idea of being able to touch what you want and just see
Yes,
it.
I
Yeah.
know. And can you touch your background? Go ahead, do
Oh,
it.
yeah. I can try.
You probably die from that.
Yeah, right. I'll fall into the abyss.
Oh my gosh, that's cool. You know what? I think that a lot of people now with technology, we have to know how technology works, right? We have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
understand it. So that's actually pretty cool. I think that even a lot of our viewers, whoever end up watching this video, can learn from that. But how do you do that?
So it's just in the settings, and I look, I am not the big technology guy.
Yeah.
I honestly had somebody set this up for me at the start of it when I
Okay.
started doing my podcast.
Yeah.
And it just blocks people from seeing my messy old house.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Because well, first of all, let me say thank you for having me on, Miss Rosa. I really appreciate you. What you're doing is so great, and you're going to change a lot of lives doing this. But I just so many times when we are building and going and going and going, sometimes some things are sacrificed, and even though you shouldn't sacrifice a lot of things, in my case, the organization of my house at this point is a little bit sacrificed, but it's worth it with the work that I'm doing. So
That's cool. And sometimes those things don't really matter, right?
yeah,
The
yeah.
background, as long as what the message and how you're living life to be able to create a difference is what really, really matters. So,
I mean, how cool is that as a message point, right? Like your background doesn't matter, right? It's what you're doing in the forefront. It's what you're doing with the message, right? You can come from a wide range of backgrounds. You can come from a wide range of beginnings, but as long as what you're doing in the current and what you're doing right now is good, then it's all good.
it's all good. Yes, that's true. So, so when we start right now, I would just would like for everybody to know, because a lot of people in here actually know who I am.
Hmm.
Latina mommies, like I say, I'm actually from Guatemala. I'm proud to say I'm 100% Latina,
Oh
and this is
yeah.
like, you know. So I always say I have to be proud of who I am, where I'm from. I speak Spanish. Yo puedo hablar en español también. Even though because I'm in America most of the time, and I'm actually surrounded by mostly, I feel like I talk to my boyfriend in Spanish, that
Hmm.
100%. And I'm also teaching my son, who
Hmm.
is Haitian and Guatemalan,
Yeah,
so he understands more Spanish and speak more Spanish, but he can also understand Creole. So that's a
that's cool.
that's a little like good thing.
Multilingual.
Yes, bilingual. And it's
Yeah,
actually so important to like keep that originality.
yeah.
And I know that some people might say, well, I don't feel happy with who I am or where I came from. But for me, I'm like, if you are not happy from where you came from or where you're from, then who are you? You know
Yes.
what is it that you can, I feel like people can relate more to who we are and where we come from than somebody that we're really not, trying to be, and
Yeah.
something that we're not. So
Yes.
I always say, let's just stay clearly 100% truthful of who we are. And even if you have work to do, even if you have, like, I know that some people, especially like girls, like they love to do their hair. So to be honest, I just pull my hair up and it's just like this, you know what I mean? Like, truthfully, that's me. I don't put a lot of makeup, and I know a lot of girls, everybody's different. Some women look really beautiful in makeup. For me, I pull makeup and I think it will look horrible on me or worse on me, so if
Mhm.
I don't need it, why not, just keep it
Exactly.
original. But everybody's different. And so who are you? Can you tell us about who Kyle Dean is?
Sure, sure. So, my name is Kyle Dean, as you said. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, in New
Woohoo!
York City. Yeah. Um, I am just a person who has always been into art, always been into conversations, always loved being around people. Um, my both of my parents are from Brooklyn, so very home based there. But I do have a lot of family in the South, in Georgia region, right? So good old American type of background. But New York is a melting pot, or
Yes.
rather, I don't like to call it a melting pot. I like to call it a cutting board, where you have different sections. You have your onions over here, cucumbers, tomatoes over there, and
Mm,
some of the juices run every once in a
yes.
while, but
Yes.
we all get a little bit of everyone else's culture in New York.
Mm.
So it's very educational, because you're not just one person here. You're a mixture of a whole bunch of different people, right?
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
Now, how did you grow up in Brooklyn? Like, how was your education and just
Mm,
a little bit of your childhood, like experiences of, you
yeah.
know, because everybody has different experiences. So how was that for you?
Yeah. So I was very blessed to have a mother who was in education, so she took um, a very active role in my education, and got me into a very, how would I say, well-to-do school in the Soho part of Manhattan. I went to school with a lot of well-to-do kids. Now, that might seem like it would be ideal to be going to school with all these rich kids, but a lot of times that caused um, confidence conflicts,
Mm,
right? Because I was going to school with people who had all the money in the world and had
mm,
nothing to lose, and had, the world at their fingertips,
yeah.
and parents had all these connections, and I didn't have all of that,
Yeah.
right?
So
Right.
how did that, so did you notice that your mom was making a sacrifice
Yeah.
at a very young age? So
Yes.
it's a young child, did you learn to just appreciate what your mom was doing, or did you get caught up in the environment that I guess you was put into with the education where
Oh,
rich
a,
people and they make you feel, some type of way with maybe the clothes that you're wearing or how you look? How was that?
1,000%. I got caught up in the environment. 1,000%. Because a lot of times when we're younger, right, we get so fascinated by physical things and
Yes.
surface material things, and we think that what we can wear um, is, or what we can show the world is everything, right? When we're young, we get so caught up in impressing people and validating people. And, it's fine, right? When you're young, you be young, you have to give people room to figure themselves out. But when you get older, you realize none of that stuff really matters, right?
Yeah.
One thing, and I don't mean to be brash here, but my mom always said, if you can wear it on your ASS, it's not an asset, right?
Mm.
So, we mistake liabilities for assets all the time, right? We mistake things that's just going to give us bills and just going to add to all the money going out as things that add value to us,
So
right?
okay, so when you say that, let me start with, when you say asset versus liabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people might not understand that. So assets are just so liabilities are things that are costing you money. So
Yeah.
you're just paying. So your house is actually a liability. Your car is a liability. Utility bill is a liability. Anything that you're spending money on is a liability. An asset is actually like gold. If you have paper, if you have what else? Let me see the other examples. Rents, rental property,
Mm-hmm.
which can
Stocks and bonds, a bit,
that,
and
yeah,
anything that you own that is going to
that
give
you're
you
going to
residual
pass.
income.
Yes, that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
residual income. Yes.
Exactly.
So when you say residual income, you're like literally like speaking my language in some way, because there is residual income and then there is, we'll call it residual bills.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So let's call the liabilities
Mm-hmm.
residual bills, and
Yeah,
let's call the residual income, the assets that you are having, because
exactly,
you keep getting money regardless if you're actually going to work the next day or not. You're
exactly.
actually creating
And
money.
and and you know what I've learned too, Rosa? A lot of times we think of assets and liabilities in terms of physical things, in
Yeah.
terms of the house and the car and blah blah blah. But assets and liabilities also apply to the people that we have in our lives, right?
Mm,
There are people that show up in our lives and are constant assets, right? We're always getting knowledge from them. We're always getting wisdom from them. They're
yes.
always investing into who we are. But then
Mhm.
there are people that are always taxing us, right? There are
Wow.
people who are
Yes.
always pulling energy from us. There are people
Yes.
who are always sitting around and being negative, and we always have to repair them spiritually or mentally
Yes.
or emotionally. So there,
Emotionally or with things. So
yeah,
like, for example, you could have, let's pull family, because I could probably maybe relate a little bit with that. Sometimes family, even though it's family, family can drain you.
yes,
But when it comes to you having an idea and you going with that idea, and you want to become something of yourself, then they'll look at you like if you're crazy.
Yeah.
They're like the last people to support you. But
Yeah.
there'll be somebody who you don't know but can see your dream and can see your goals, and they will support you, and building that community with you in some way. You have different people. So I say family is actually the people that actually encourage you and
Yeah.
help you throughout life, no matter what it is that you're going through. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
You know what it is? I think a lot of times people close to us have had years and years and years to become comfortable with who we are. So when we change and when we want to make a change, it's hard for them to see us through a different
Yes,
lens.
they've become
It's
comfortable with
exactly.
how things and is. So let's say an example for now. I know that even Gary Vee uses this. He says colleges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Parents keep pushing their kids to go to college, but college is not a thing anymore. It's not where, like, for example, for me, I went to college and I was super excited. I did the whole American dream, meaning like what they told me to do: go to school, get an education, find a
Mm-hmm.
job, and then from that, then the job will help you pay your bills. But after I graduated from my master's degree,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still working 4 jobs
Yeah.
because, and not that I'm a materialistic person. I'm not that type of person. Like I was running I was with an old car, like it was dying on me, I have my son.
Mm-hmm.
I have just like a simple 2-bedroom apartment. I had one before because my son was sleeping with me most of the
Mm-hmm.
time. But and I don't buy material like jewelry or makeup, or just I don't spend money on things that I don't need. But
Yes.
even though I'm not doing those things, and I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't party, I don't go and just spend my money on just anything. And that's just
Mm-hmm.
personally me. But I'm still have to be responsible with making sure that my son has everything that he needs.
Yeah.
And my job, having one job is not paying everything.
Yeah.
So finding like having 4 jobs after I have a master's degree,
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't be working 4 jobs to pay my bills and also
Yeah.
to be paying my student loan debt.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
I have like I with my master's degree, I actually had like 80,000
Wow.
in debt.
That's
And the thing is that it's funny just how, like, because I came from a whole different country and I
mm-hmm.
have no education, so I listen to the people who my adopted parents, the family that adopted me and that raised me and that helped me, you know, go through life and get educated. So I'm following what they know, what they,
Yes.
and because in their time, college was actually something that was good for you to go and that will pay for their bills. Now
Mm-hmm.
you're forcing that on me, which is
Yeah.
not, it didn't work the same. So for me, now with my son,
Mm-hmm.
I know that I can't be pushing that on my son.
Yeah.
He needs
It's
to go
so
through a
important.
need-based business, need-based
Yes.
business.
Yes. It's so important because a lot of times people, they might have good intention for you, right? But everyone's answer is not our answer, right?
Mhm.
I don't know. I know my story, right? I don't know your story, right?
Yeah,
So I can't give you 1,000% perfect answer
yep,
for what you need,
yep,
right? And then I think a lot of times in the world, that's what we try to tell people. We try to fix people's problems and try to tell people what they should do based off of how we live,
yes,
and that doesn't work.
yep.
People have to You have to allow people to find their own answers.
Way, yeah, their own way and their own.
Exactly.
But I think I also believe that at a younger age, we as parents or young adults, if you already have it, I don't know if you have a child or not, but we are supposed to educate ourselves as
Yeah.
adults. we're not supposed to get stuck on just, it's like putting the horse blinders,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And in some way, the horse blinders actually fit, but in many things in life, these don't fit,
Yeah.
because that means you're only seeing everything through one lens, one way. You're not seeing the whole picture of what really
Exactly.
is going on. So
Exactly.
even with my son, I just tell him, hey, try anything that you like just be, I'm always open to him. Like if he likes something different, okay, go ahead and try it.
Exactly.
If he likes basketball, he likes fishing, he loves fishing right now. Like he's just into fishing. He's always been into fishing. He's actually 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying just because I don't like fishing,
Yeah.
I'm not killing his dream. If
Exactly.
anything, I'm actually saying, okay, do you want to buy the fishing pole? Okay, look in YouTube videos and see how they are using the, if that fishing pole
Exactly.
is good to use, where is it good to use at? In the ocean or in the river or whatever. So you have to be willing to educate as they're learning.
Exactly. I think it's important to not because a lot of times parents and again they have good intentions, but they are dream killers.
Yes.
So in order to protect, quote unquote, protect their kids, they tell them you can only do this, you can only do that. Don't get involved in anything except for what I think is going to work in your life. But I
Right.
say, if you should just teach your kids whatever they do at 1,000%.
Yes.
Whatever they do, just put their
Yes.
all and their entire focus into it, and
Yes.
that's how you go about it, not just one certain thing.
Yeah, and that's how they will show you too whether they're really into that or they're
Exactly.
not.
Exactly.
So and that's how I get my son to do it. And I think that a lot of young adults, young kids, even let's say middle school, high school kids, um, I know that um, somebody say, well, I was into nails, but because I couldn't, like she's still a minor, she still lives in her parents' house, she's
Mm-hmm.
not able to go out there and get the stuff that she needs so that she can actually start practicing on people and stuff like that. So all you can say is just like, hey, maybe it doesn't work right now, but just write your ideas down,
Yeah.
write your goals down, just because it's not happening right now. And if that's something that you truly want to do and you really want to practice, you have another year till you turn 18. You'll be able to work, you'll be able to have your working papers. Go ahead and do it, but you have to have a plan and you have to write it down.
Exactly. You have to. I think freedom, right, without discipline is chaos,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have to be able to say, and again, this is another thing. Whenever something is authenticated, it first has to be tested. It first has to be put under pressure. So when we say that we want to do something, or say that we want something, or say that we are something, that has to be tested first. It has to be tried. It has to be contorted, it has to be twisted, put under a certain storm, so that when we get to that point, we can say, okay, yeah, I really am this. That's what
Yeah.
going to school is, right? Going to college is testing all of that, putting all that hard work in, so that when you get that degree or when you become a teacher, say, yeah, I have been authenticated as that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Yeah.
many times what happens is, and especially in this generation where we have these things, we have the phones and the
Yeah.
Instagrams, all we got to do is type in the little bio that we are something, and automatically we become it without being tested, without being tried, without being authenticated.
Yes.
So going back to the kids, I think when you do it, and when they tell you that they want to do something, you got to put the pressure on them, say, all right, cool, this is what it takes. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, whether it be kids or adults, when you tell people all that it takes to be great at something, they're either gonna full press and go do it,
Yeah.
or they're gonna be like, oh, this might not be the thing for me.
Yeah.
They'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
And
you
and
know.
I, and I would definitely, and that's actually pretty true. And I think that even for athletes, like a competitive athlete. So I'm an athlete, and I actually play basketball, soccer, and I did track.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that is like competitive, like anything that I have to compete, I do really, really, really well. So
Yeah.
that's like what you're saying. show me what it is that it takes for me to go and win the game, and
Exactly.
I will do it. I will practice it, and I'll keep doing it.
Yes.
So that's like the part of taking action after you write your ideas down and after you see where it is that you want to become. But even going back to you, what you were saying with going to school in a population that I'm sure maybe
Mm.
there were, what was the population of seeing Latinos and African American versus Caucasians, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I went to a literally, yeah, 95% of the kids were Caucasians.
Yeah.
I was the only Latina person there.
Yeah. I was one of three people of color, so Spanish, Latina, Asian, Black,
Mhm.
all of that. There was only three of us in the class.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And in
yeah.
some way, how do you say it helped you and it didn't help you, you know?
So during the time, there was definitely an identity loss, right? There was definitely a struggle between how do you spend your time with all of these rich white kids and then come back to your home, come back to your neighborhood where there's none of that, right? And you almost feel like you have your Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? Where you
Yeah.
have to change who you are based on the room, right? Again, that's what we think when we're younger. We got to keep on changing, and we want to impress people. We want that validation. But what it showed me is this, Miss Rosa. It showed me ultimately that people see through all of that.
Mm,
Whether you're dealing with changing who you are based on rich and poor, black or white, black or Latina, whoever, Asian, whoever, whatever room, people can see through the mask.
mm,
People can see through everything that all of this, right?
yeah.
So what it behooves us to do is just be real. What it behooves us to do is not look for what we want people to see or what we think people are going to like in us. It's just figuring ourselves out. What makes
Yeah.
me happy about myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? I
Yeah.
might not want to listen to rap today. I
Mm,
might want to listen to Blink 182 today,
yeah.
right? I
Mm-hmm.
should not be defined by what some person says that I should listen to. I
Mm,
shouldn't be defined because I'm from some certain community or because I'm around some certain people in a room. When we figure out, and this is so important to like when I got this and when it clicked heavy. When we figure out who we are by ourselves, when we're in the room by ourselves,
mm,
especially like in COVID now, where we didn't have all the people around us,
yeah.
when we are in a room by ourselves, who we are when no one is watching, that's our realest selves. And when we
Mm,
get and we get really in touch with that person and take that person out and don't care about what other people are going to say if they judge us
yeah.
or if they laugh at us, that's when we feel comfortable with
And,
ourselves.
and when you say like with this whole obviously COVID-19, I feel like maybe even a few kids as an educator, I can see that the outside negativity of actually being in a school setting
Mm,
actually for a lot of kids, or maybe like a few kids that I know actually did well because there was no pressure of acting cool and tough and,
yeah,
let me show off. And their focus was actually to try to do well in school and actually stay focused, and there was no this loud noises like there is in a
yeah,
classroom. Like you have to put up with so much in a classroom sometimes that it's chaos, that it doesn't allow for somebody to learn.
yes,
So I think that there was many who did really well in online education. I think that there was also some kids who actually maybe did really poorly. One, because maybe the parent is not so intact with their child's learning, meaning I may not know how to teach my child.
yeah,
I may not know the technology that it takes for me to sit in the patience to sit and say, hey, look, your teacher saying you this, your teacher saying you
yeah,
that. you need to do this, and on top of it. And I think that some kids actually do miss that, conversation, and they actually did pretty well with being around
Yeah.
other people and doing sports. But I think that in general, I think that what you said is like, who are you? If you can do well, if you did well through COVID-19 with school,
Mm-hmm.
then I think you can, there's no excuses for you to, when you go back to school and not do well.
Yeah.
There's none. Because
Yeah.
that means you've already proven that you can do well. It's just a focus.
Exactly. You've proven under pressure that you can perform, because
Yes.
let's be real, COVID this time was pressure for all of us. And if
Yeah.
you could perform under pressure, then when you get back to school, right, and someone wants to say, oh, now let's not go to class, let's do this, or oh, let's not pay attention to the teacher, let's make some joke or whatever. I get it. Kids are gonna want to be cool, you're gonna want to fit in, you're gonna want to crack the jokes, you're gonna want to do this, but you got to realize this. All of that, right? Looking cool. A lot of times when we try to look cool, the person that's trying to get us to look cool, they already got their stuff done most of the time, right?
Yes. Yeah.
They're trying to distract us, and we go along thinking that we both have the same consequences. I had to learn this heavy, right? Everyone doesn't have the same consequences that you have. When you
Can
be
you
a
share that? Can you share that
yeah,
experience where you learned
yeah.
that?
So again, going to school with a bunch of well-to-do kids, right? I thought being a knucklehead, I was gonna have the same consequences as these
Mhm.
kids that can pay for more than I can, right? The kids that have access to more than I have, right?
Yeah.
That and it's no fault on theirs. It's my responsibility for being a
A
knucklehead.
knucklehead.
Yeah, being a knucklehead, but
Being goofy, being like, maybe let me try to guess the type of kid that you was. You was trying to be goofy because you are different,
mm-hmm,
and you was trying to be like, you was trying to fit in and liked and be noticed, because
yeah,
even though you're different, it is very, and the reason I know this is because I went through the same experience in some way, where you want to feel like you're wanted and you're appreciated, and that you as a kid, even though you don't have a lot of money, even though you might not have the nicest, coolest car, right? Sometimes
mm-hmm,
the car could be mess, like it could be like so old, and everybody
yeah,
else is having newer cars, and that makes you feel so uncomfortable. So in school, you try to do things to make up for those bad feelings that you have.
yeah, yeah,
And when you are trying and you focus if you focus on that, then you lose focus on the main purpose of why it is that you're going to that school, and
exactly,
why your mom has sacrificed so much to send
exactly.
you to a better school. So sometimes I feel like it's not even about the school.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm sure there's differently bad districts and bad schools, but I think that a lot of the times is us learning
Yeah.
and going through bad experiences and just learning, because I think that I would have done well in a public school,
Mm.
because I was so self-disciplined, because I knew what it was not to have nothing, and I
Yes.
came from nothing. So
Yes.
when I came here, I was all about education and learning, like learning English, because I didn't speak the language either. So I will study for tests for like 2 weeks, and I will still fail, but I kept trying. My work ethic is what's actually paying off now.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with anything else that I learned. It's just my work ethic is why I'm successful now, why I can say that I'm still here.
Exactly. And you
So,
know what else? I think going back to the asset and liability conversation, I think a lot of times in order to be seen as an asset, we have to be on the same page of values,
mm,
right? There has to be a common currency. And a lot of times with kids, their currency is popularity,
mm-hmm,
where their parents' currency might be education and hard work.
yes,
So what the kid values and what's an asset to the kid is looking cool,
yeah,
right? And the liability is being seen as the bookworm, or being seen as the smart kid, or being seen as the library nerd, right?
yeah.
But later on in life, that liability turns into an asset, right?
Yeah.
Later on in life, that liability of being the kid that's always inside doing work and studying, you get to college and it's like, or you get
It's
beyond
something
college.
good for you
Exactly.
to have had. Yes, it's something like you. That uniqueness about you is what's actually, that's how you're gonna make it in life.
Exactly.
And
And it
not
does
just,
not sound cool. It
yeah,
doesn't
it
sound
doesn't sound
cool.
cool for sure, of course.
But you know what doesn't sound cool is having to be 25 and 30 and 35 and develop skills that you could have developed at 15 and
Yeah,
20 and 10, really,
yeah, yeah,
just playing catch up with the world. Playing catch up with the world is never cool, because as much as you feel like, if you feel like when you were younger you were behind everyone, right? When you're younger, the younger you are, that's why I think it's so much easier to learn languages when we're younger. The younger we are, the more pliable we are, uh, um, the more receptive to information we are. Our brain
yeah,
is still being developed.
yep,
But when we're older, like they say, it's hard to teach your old dog new tricks. It's hard to develop study habits when you're 30 years old,
yeah.
right? It's hard to develop things.
Just like learning a new language. It's
Yeah.
easier for somebody who has come here to America at a younger age to learn English faster and quicker than it is somebody who is 21, 22 years
Yeah.
old. And also, what is your surroundings? So it's a good thing. I mean, when I came here, I was not surrounded by anybody who spoke Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't speak my language. So I was forced to learn English by just listening to everybody learning English.
Wow.
So I mimic everybody, and that's how I learned it. And I learned it really, really quick, even though my accent was probably horrific,
Mm-hmm.
but I made it, and
Yeah.
I just kept trying and I kept learning. I cried many times because I did feel different. I did miss my culture,
Mm-hmm.
my people that could like relate to me and be like me. So I did miss that. But now that's why I create an environment, just even like this YouTube, even though I can't, shake hands with you or shake hands with anybody else that's actually watching, just creating that environment to know that there's people like you out there who can help you, who can understand you, who you can, listen to and say, wow, she made it, I can do it, you know,
Yes.
because we go through so many difficult things in life that sometimes, yes, we want to give up. There's many times I wanted to give up for sure. But then there's something inside of me that says, don't do it. Just keep
Yeah.
going. Just
Keep
keep
going.
going. Just keep going. And because to be honest, I never really wanted to be a teacher. The only reason I wanted to be a teacher was because my parents were like, oh wow, you explain things so well. I think
Mm-hmm.
you can become a teacher.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
but and I stopped exploring other things that I know for a fact now I love,
Mm. Wow.
like
And
health and wellness.
yes. You know
And
what it is? It's
like I stopped exploring just because that idea was given to me and pushed through me to the
yeah.
point that I was like, well, I guess that's what I'm good at, so let me just go for it, even though I noticed that I didn't like it in college.
Wow.
So I just took that as, okay, well, there's things in life that we don't like, but we just gotta do it and we just gotta push through it. And I did it. But then when I
Yeah.
got my master's degree, and a year later after getting my master's degree, I find myself crying because I thought it was supposed to be easier after you have a
Mm.
master's degree. I didn't think I was going to have to be working 4 jobs and sacrificing the time with my son and dealing with people who don't really love you. You just got to do a job that you have to do.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what really frustrated me. And that's where I was like, you know what? Let me start reading things that I really like, and let me read books and things that are going to help me to be, to come up with a different level and be different. Even
Yeah.
if I'm 50 years old and I started something like 4 years before, I will be okay. But I know that I'll be happy doing something
Exactly.
that I love to do.
And you know what it is? I think a lot of, well, let me put it like this. When you're creating wine, right? When you're creating these bottles of beautiful wine that cost so much money, right? They
Yeah.
come from grapes, right? Grapes are cheap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Grapes are everywhere. But to make that wine, those grapes into wine has to be pressed, has to be fermented, left to sit a long period of time,
Yeah.
heated up, right? Put under immense amount of pressure. And it might take years and years and years and years for it to form into this beautiful bottle of wine. But
Mm.
when it forms into that wine, for the people who drink, I don't drink but
Yeah.
anymore, but for the people who appreciate wine, right?
Yeah.
Or let's use the example of baking a cake, right? You have
Mm-hmm.
all those ingredients and you got to put it together, and it takes time and time again. It takes all the beating and everything. But when it finally comes out and it tastes so good, it's worth the 2 hours that it took.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
worth all the money that's spent putting in that you put into baking the cake. So for you and for me, I tell myself this every day, Rosa, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I wake up in the morning and I'm talking to 5 people on live, or whether I get a little bit of social engagement from what I'm posting, or a little bit of things, or whether it's a lot of people that day, or whether I get to do a beautiful thing like this today, right? Whatever I'm doing, I gotta give full press 1,000%,
Yeah.
because no matter whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people, we're always being tested and we're always growing to who we're going to be in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. And now with what you're saying, because I totally agree with you, like 100%. I feel like we've had some similarities in the way we've dealt with life and hardship, but do you, because I've shared a few of mine, can you share a few experiences of where you thought that, wow, like this is definitely something like difficult to the point that you kind of lost who you are and just the positivity of who you are, but then something brought you out? And what is it that you've learned from those experiences?
Yeah. So I was just talking about the wine, right, and not drinking, but that was not always the case. I was a party person, right? It was in my youth. It seemed, and I talk like I'm so old, but in my young youth, right, it seemed really cool. It
Yeah.
seemed really, really great to have a whole bunch of friends. My
And
currency.
can you say, just so that everybody can just understand, where how young you was, just so that it's specific in a way that I know that I know for sure there's kids who are drinking,
Mhm.
smoking, and doing all these things, and just it's cool, you know?
Yeah.
So I just want to like you
So
to.
I would say I was probably not so bad in high school, because I wasn't. They were really strict in my house.
Yeah.
But from college age, maybe like 17 all the way up until 28, right? Like
Mm.
really deep into it. I was heavy into it, and my currency was the crowd. My currency was being a part of the group and going out every night and meeting new people, which on the surface is fine, but not if it's going out to seek validation, not
Yeah.
if it's going out to look for who I am in other people.
Mm.
So I was, just waking up every night, or waking up every morning with a hangover, waking up, going to sleep, getting home at 10 a.m. and having to be at work at 1 or whatever, right?
Mm.
If I went to work that day at all, right? Like just wasting away. I could tell you this, Rosa. There was a point where, 7 days in a week, about 4 of them would be inactive, because
Mm.
the other 3 I would be going out, right? And it was just not conducive to a living life, right? Everything that I thought was cool was unfocused. I said earlier, freedom without discipline is chaos. So I
Mm.
had the freedom to do whatever I wanted, right? I had the
Yeah.
freedom to walk in a bar or in a club, and people knew me, and I thought that was freedom. I thought that was cool. I
That
thought
was
that was
awesome.
I thought that was what's up. And
Yeah.
and it's cool to know people. I love meeting people. I love engaging with people.
Yeah.
But if it's not disciplined, if it's not for a purpose, and that's the big thing. I always say this: purpose is never personal. right?
Yeah.
So everything that we do with the singular lens of just wanting to do it for ourselves, it's not your purpose.
Yeah.
It's hurting you. So I was at one point, I would say crazy, right? Because I was literally the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a
Mm-hmm.
different result. And I was stuck in this loop of drinking, going out, partying, working lower than I should be working, doing things on a lower level than I was, and not seeing any result in life.
Now,
And
was there anything internally that
mhm,
was, and I ask that because similar experience too, but sometimes we do things because there's something inside of us
yeah,
that we're not getting answers to and we don't know how to handle. So we turn to the bet, to what is given to us, what we see right there. So for you in this case, we could have been drinking and
mhm,
staying up that late, and that's what satisfied or numb that pain that you
yeah.
was going through.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we normalize what we feel like we can't face head on and solve. I call it making a bed of rocks, right? When you feel like you can't get out of the place you're in, you might as well just get some rocks and make a bed in it. And I definitely feel like internally, through the self work that I'm doing now, internally, it was searching for validation. It
Mm,
was feeling like I was never enough. So the currency, the speaking of assets and liabilities, the value that I gave to the room was let me be loud, right? Let me be the life of the party. Let me be the center of the room. Let me be so drunk and so whatever that I didn't care about being the loudest person in the room, because to myself, I thought that's how I brought value.
yeah,
I was lighting up the
because
room.
you was getting that negative attention. Even
Exactly.
because there is positive attention and there's that negative attention, and that's what you
Yes.
see, where it's like it's attention, it's bringing attention to you, but it's negative because it's not something good that you're doing to yourself. And at
Exactly.
the end of the day, you could have put yourself in a position where your life, you could have ended your life.
Yeah, there were many a night. There were many a night, and you know, I don't know who's religious or who's not, but there are many a night where I I thank God every day right now, because there are so many nights I literally, like, I'll get chills when I walk down the street in New York,
Mhm.
because I'll see certain things that I'll remember, flashback, and there's so many nights where I could, if it wasn't for the grace of God, I would be out of here 1,000%. I know it, because I'm like, how did I not, right? Like this, I can go into details and details and details about the
Yeah.
crazy experiences that I've had in terms of just drinking, and certain things were like, you did what to who?
Yeah.
And they didn't kill you. You
Yeah.
did what to who? Or you did what where, and you didn't get robbed or beat up. You didn't,
Mhm.
you did all these things. And a lot of times we did all these things because we had the liquid courage, and
Yeah.
we had the machismo that comes along with the drinking and the whatever comes along
Mhm.
with that,
Yeah.
right? And it is just, again, a point of gratitude every morning to wake up and not
Yeah.
have that anymore. But right before COVID, I remember this, the day, the last day that before everything began to really
Shut
shut down
down.
here.
Yeah.
I got home really early in the morning, or late rather. And I remember saying, like, this can't be life.
Mm.
This can't be life. This is, I'm living on I'm not living.
You're not living.
I'm not living. This is animals don't even live like this.
Mm.
Right. I remember, and again, I get flashbacks all the time now, just thinking of things, right? I remember, and I was going to share this on a live, but I'll give it to you because I love your platform so
Yes.
much. I love what you do. I remember, I, this happened multiple times. It would be Sundays when I didn't have anything to do. I could not watch certain things that had that I knew had a lot of good looking food. So whether that was Undercover Boss when they were doing a food episode, or
Mhm.
you know, the Food Channel or the History Channel when they were doing whatever, because I had spent so much money on the drinking and the people around and the whatever comes along with drinking that I was totally broke. And I had a job,
Yeah.
had zero to show for it. I mean, nothing. I mean, like just going out one night, spending it all. And I couldn't even, I would cry because I couldn't even watch commercials on TV that had food in it because I was so hungry. Couldn't
Wow.
feed myself.
Yeah.
Couldn't feed myself because of the irresponsibility that the irresponsible way that I use my freedom.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? And thank you for sharing that. One, to validate what you're saying. It's so, what you're saying is so truthful to so many people. And that realistic experience, a lot of people, you came out of that, but some people don't
Mm-hmm.
come out of that. And some people either go in the worst way, right? They go through the worst
Yes.
way, or something happens to them where their life ends up ending.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think everything in life happens for a reason. And, throughout this whole even COVID-19, like I'm always like thinking about things, but just the experience of, I don't know, just changing is change, and also being productive and knowing that you yourself have been doing something for yourself so that you, no matter what happens, you will be okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of, just even like a lot of kids at home, and where they come from domestic violence, or just even kids who are going through bigger issues. And let's keep it real, because some kids go through, you know being sexually molested, or going through things like that, that for me, and even a child, that's difficult. That's
Yeah.
hard. And that's something that some people don't have power, some kids don't have power to get out of that situation. In
Yeah.
this case, with this whole COVID-19, um, but even with hunger, right, food, and with your experience, I just want to say that, even though, like you say, like just freedom without discipline is chaos. Yes, it is, but I feel like something in your life failed
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm.
And you might know what that is, or you might not know what that is, because if you do know what that is, that's why you came out too.
Mm-hmm.
Came out of that. And
Yeah.
that's why even now, from now on, you're just learning and educating yourself and making mistakes for yourself, but you're also making sure that at the end of the day, you're gonna be okay in the future, no matter what other changes happens.
Exactly.
And just thank you for that sincerity, because I feel it. And also, like, I know a lot of people who are gonna watch, or going to be watching this, or are watching this, can also have some resemblance with that experience. So
Thank you. It takes a lot to get through life, right? Everyone doesn't have that experience, right? Some people have a little bit easier, some people have a little bit worse, some people have a lot easier, some people have a lot worse. But whatever we go through, whatever it is, whatever the pain is, it's meant, like you said, it's meant for something,
yes.
right? We might not see the big picture,
Yeah.
right? A lot of times we are very myopic. A lot of times we are very one lens and one way thinking and one way looking, right? When we were
Yep.
talking about career path, we
Yeah.
focus on one thing and a little part of the puzzle so much that we forget to back out and see, oh, wow, well, me going through this is enabling me to help this person over here,
Mm-hmm.
right? Me going through this pain right now is going to help my kids down the line, or me going through this
Yeah.
confusion right now is going to be able to talk to Rosa in a year or in a
Yeah.
couple of months on
Yeah.
her YouTube station, right?
Yeah.
It's taking everything and realizing that everything is working for us.
Yeah.
Things do not happen to us. Things happen for us. And when we look at it through that lens, when we look at it through the lens of, all right, I'm going through something hard right now. I feel like I want to quit right now. I feel like I want to stop right now. I feel like I want to break down right now, but it's not happening to me. It's happening to authenticate me. It's happening to build me up. It's happening to put the pressure on me so I grow stronger, so I grow wiser, so I grow better, so I can help people down the line. When we look at it like that, that's when we get the power from it. That's
Yes.
when we get the life from it. That's when we get the gold from it. That's when we mine the diamonds from it. Look at a diamond, what a diamond goes through to become a diamond,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
has to go through the dirt, it has to go through the fire and the pressure to become who it is. Just
And
like
going
that, we
through
got
the
to do that.
pressure, yeah, going through that hardship, that time of, so you're here right now, right? So people see you now, but they didn't see you through that hardship that you was going through.
Oh, they didn't want to see me then.
You know, and even, yeah, and but this is the part where I say sharing our truth is more of helping people change and helping us change, because I can say I'm not the same person a year ago, and I'm not the same person as 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years, even 5 years ago. I'm totally like a whole different person. I don't even recognize myself,
Hmm.
in a good way. But like you say something, and I wrote it down before, that you don't get wisdom just being good. You have to live life and make mistakes to
Yeah.
create the wisdom, you know?
Yeah.
So going through what you was going through actually is allowing you to create, and make a better life choices for yourself and for the future, and know, and maybe before that, you, if COVID didn't happen, who knows what could have happened to you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at the same time, it's just like, it's a learning process. Life is a learning process, but a lot of times through social media, I love social media, but sometimes people just, like Gary Vee said, we don't see the real, the real stuff that's going on. We don't see that. People just put the, I want to put it like genetically modify
Yeah. Exactly.
of who you are, right?
Yeah.
Or who you trying to be, or how is it that you're mimicking somebody else, but you're not really trying to share that authentic person that you are in the real situations that is happening. Because
Yeah.
people, we love seeing nice things, all these things is nice, but what really makes a difference and what really will make a change in other people's too, when you see it, is, wow, is the real you. Like
Exactly.
crying, like shit, like sorry, but shit, I feel like crap right now, like I feel so negative. Why is it I feel like that? Yes, stuff like that happens. You are going to have bad moments, you are going to have bad days, you are going to feel like you don't want to do nothing, because I feel like that. And but then I say, be patient with
Yes.
yourself, and it's okay to feel bad and to
Yeah.
go through those bad moments. The only thing that is not okay is you not learning from that, and
Yes.
also is staying in those bad moments where you're
Yeah.
not getting up. And that's the part, that's the difference. So I love when I see realistic hustling, like even my boyfriend, he's been a personal trainer, and he's been training, he learned how to train himself.
Mm-hmm.
So many people, he has the 8 pack, he can do crazy workout, but so many people hate on him, not even knowing him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they hate on him just because they see something good in him, which is the work ethic, which
Mm-hmm.
is a Latino person making it and actually doing something for himself and looking
Yeah.
good at his age and having 8 pack. But did his process, was his process easy? Did he paid for him to get those 8 packs? He worked through those, hard work, hard, real work. Every day he works out, every single day. But
Yes.
then people are so quick to just say, ah, look at him, he's just trying to be cocky, or he's just showing. Hey, if you have been like, you, if show your success. But I feel like I'm sharing my not so successful times too, so that
Mm-hmm.
people who follow me and who know me can
Yeah.
say, that girl has gone through so much. And
Yeah.
it's a good thing to look at her now and say, wow, she has made it. And with you coming out, just saying your experience about what it is that you went through, and now COVID-19 has completely changed you. I want to see what it is in 5 years that you're doing.
Yes. And that's the thing, right? Just to, with your boyfriend, right? People see the glory, but they don't know the story. And when they don't know the story, it's easy for them to judge or easy for them to hate on it, right? But they don't see. I always say this, and I'm not a big fan, but I am a big fan, but whatever. Drake, right?
Yes,
Everyone loves to hate on Drake. It's so easy to hate on Drake, right?
yes,
So convenient because
yes,
he's at the top of his game. That's another thing, right? I won't get on that tangent, but the bigger you are, the more of a target you are because you're taking up more space. That's
yeah,
one thing.
yeah,
But it's easy to hate on Drake, but we don't see how hard he's working, right?
yeah,
We don't see how hard he's in the thing. It's easy to hate on your boyfriend, but we don't see how often he's in the gym. We
yeah,
don't see where he's come from with
yep,
his body in order to push to have this body now, right?
yeah,
It's easy to hate on us for, a lot of people say, oh, you're doing that motivational thing. Oh, that's so whatever, whatever, whatever. Exactly. It's so
it's
whack. It's so
whack. That's
corny.
what
It's
he's
so
doing. Yeah,
exactly. But they don't see where we've come from in order to like say, yo, I have to help people out. I
yeah,
have to inspire people. I
yeah,
have to motivate people, right? I come from Guatemala and I didn't have the education and opportunities, and I got this opportunity and I'm rocking it out, right? I come from being an alcoholic or being a time waster, and I don't want people to follow down the same path. I
yeah.
come from being certain things, so I have to push myself, and
You
not
have
only
to
push
you
myself
have
but
to
push others.
share so that if they're going through the same thing,
Yes,
you could stop them right there and say, whoa, 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 he actually is doing the same thing as I'm doing. Okay,
exactly,
let me see how I can change it up. Right,
exactly.
because that's helping one another. And I feel like the more we are more compassionate and understanding about each other and supporting each other, because I feel like even in our community, Latinos and Blacks, we don't really support each other.
Yeah.
We've been um you know what is that word? I can't find the word, but we've been conditioned to
Mm.
hate each other.
Yes.
So you can create separation to the point that with separation we don't create value to our own culture, to our own people, to build businesses around each other and support each
Exactly.
other. If anything, we're just living and dying. And just
Yeah.
like you say, like the cutting board, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has different sections, the onions, the peppers, the tomatoes, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We are all living in the same area. However, we're so separated to the point that we get stuck in that
Yes.
separation instead of just working together. And
Yes.
that's always been my way of just thinking. Like even in college, like I remember just struggling through a project because people wouldn't help me. Because it's not that I didn't know, it's that I didn't understand the concept, and I wanted to ask people who could help me, but they don't want to share because they're afraid that of their idea is gonna be better than mine.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sharing is it's like taking away from you. So then if I bring my own uniqueness, and instead of saying, hey, let's do it together, then we will become more of a power unit and a change, versus if we do it separately and some of us look stupid and dumb,
Yeah.
because not that we don't know, it's that we're not helping each other, we're hating on each
Exactly.
other, you
It's
know.
so important. It goes back to the importance of sharing our story, right? I think that a lot of us don't connect in the Black and Brown community because we think that our stories are so separate and
Yeah,
we don't know each other's story. And if we get together and say, look, we have these commonalities, right?
yes.
Then we will more easily connect with each other because we have more commonalities and differences. And
Like, you
even,
know how many kids I know who like smoke and drink?
yeah,
Do
yeah,
you know who many that like are just like, they think that just life is just gonna be like it's whatever, it's just in the streets, selling
yeah,
weed and guns and stuff like that, which it's understanding, but in some way it's like if they could hear what you went through,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. That's the power of the story. The power of not being ashamed of what you went through, not being ashamed of who you are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then the last thing I would say with that story, with the connection thing, is whenever you find someone that isn't willing to help you, whenever you find someone that isn't willing to share information with you, it's their insecurity. It's not you.
Yeah.
It's not, for anyone who's listening, it's not you. It's
Yeah.
not that you are stupid. It's not that you are undeserving of help. It's not that you are in some way lesser than they are, or beneath them. It's because you threaten their security of
Yes.
of what they have to offer,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
They're afraid of you being more of an asset than they are.
Yeah.
Their currency, their value is based on what they know, and they
Yeah.
think that that's all that they have,
Yep.
right? Look at a person like Gary Vee, or a person like us, right?
Yeah.
We have information, but we know that information is always growing, and we're always growing. So we don't have a problem with kicking out information.
Yeah.
We don't have a problem with kicking out our experiences, or what we learned, or opportunities that we may have, right?
Yeah.
Connections that we may have, because we know that there are more. The connections didn't build us. We built the connections. We
Yeah.
built the communities. We built us,
Yes.
so we
And that,
can make more. Yeah.
and the part with that is that even with Gary Vee, like you see how much content he shares,
Yes.
and he says, and I like this about him because he says, wow, I really hate people who take advantage of others who don't know, right? People
Mm-hmm.
who are there to just take advantage. Hey, I will charge you like this much for things that you can learn for yourself and you can see. But that's another thing of us evaluating who we are and making mistakes and just being open-minded to learning from each
Yeah.
other, to see, because I see like just with you and even Coach Jay and Gary Vee, like, like I don't need to be on Gary Vee's live. If I am live with him, that's cool. But I'm learning so much from everybody else. And I'm
Yeah.
learning from so many people who are going through like same things as I'm going. So I'm writing it down because he's giving the same message that he will give to me.
Yeah.
To
Exactly.
them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what
So
it is. It's just
it's
sharing that like the pandemic was a virus, right?
yeah,
Information can be viral, right?
yeah,
Positivity can be viral, hope and love can be viral, right? Same way that hate can be viral. And I always tell people, right, if you don't have anything nice to say to me before 10 a.m., right, between the hours of when I wake up and 10 a.m., don't say anything to me until after 10, right? Because
yeah.
I know I'm going to internalize that really deeply, and that's going to affect my day.
Mm-hmm.
After 10, I've had my little breakfast, I have my coffee, I can maybe, put you to the side and tell you to be quiet a little bit better. But before that, if you don't have anything positive to say, don't say it to me, because I know that positivity is viral.
Yeah,
Negativity is viral,
yeah.
right? What we put out into the world is going to spread. We make the
So
choice
even
of what we
even
put
those
out.
people, like those people who are sharing negative things, let me tell you, we have the power to stop those people.
Yeah, yeah,
We, like you say, I don't want to hear it. If
exactly,
it's gonna be like that, I don't want to talk to you.
exactly,
Don't talk to me. We don't have nothing in common.
exactly.
You
Or
know?
we can, and you know what else I've been finding, Rosa? We can take what they give and turn it around, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because I posted today, I said, in short, paraphrasing myself, how people treat you is a
Yeah.
reflection of how they want to treat themselves. So
Yes.
if you see the person that's always mean to people, they want to be mean to themselves. That's
Yeah.
they want to. Their inside wants to be mean to themselves, right? People who are
or
always
or they're very
grumpy.
like critical, just people
Yeah,
who are grumpy, and people who are like, I've learned to just, I swear to you, just get away from those people. I don't even
yeah.
pay attention. And like if somebody wants to negate, like let's say if I'm saying something right and it's
Mm-hmm.
positive and it's something realistic, but they're just like, nah, 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 like that's not true. So I'm like, oh, okay, no problem, have a good day. That's it.
Yeah,
And I
that's
keep
it.
it moving because I know that anything else I share with them is not gonna go anywhere
Exactly.
because they're stuck in their own ways.
Exactly.
Now, if you have somebody who is positive, who's willing to learn and say, wow, that actually sounds interesting, I wouldn't mind learning more about that, or I wouldn't mind seeing more about what you're saying. Where did you learn that? That's an eager person to trying to educate themselves, because they're open-minded about it,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
not one way fits all.
Exactly. We
Not
don't.
one way fits all. That's why there's Latinos, there's African Americans, there's Guyanese people, there's Asian people, like there's all
Exactly.
type of people. And I think that once we can unite and start working together too, I think that we will create more of a change and a difference.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Look at the
So
impact that we're making by just, uniting and using our voices together,
yeah.
whenever look, if you hit, or not that we should be promoting hitting anyone, but if you use your open palm to hit someone, it'll cause a slap. But when unite to that fist, that
Mhm.
impact will be much heavier and much stronger.
Ooh, that's a good one right there. Wow, that's a good one right there. The uniting part. It makes it
Yeah.
that stronger and more difficult to that's a visual for me, because I'm
Yeah.
a visual
Yeah.
person too. Even though I know that united we make a stronger, bond and a stronger way of making changes, right? Because we're
Yeah.
demanding change in this world and this system and the way we're
Exactly.
living now. But separating ourselves is not, it's not going to help. But if we
Exactly.
all come together, it's a, oh my gosh, and nobody wants to see this.
Nobody wants to see that now.
And that's the truth. Nobody wants to see this, and that's
Eh,
what I just want to. I'm hoping that one day we can become more togetherness, like Latinos
yeah.
and Blacks, and just because I've noticed, even just through our experiences, I'm sure you have it, you have too, with going to a school of mostly white kids and rich people. If they're, let's say, they come up with an idea, that idea is totally crazy and absurd. They will come together and they will believe in
Yeah.
that idea, regardless if
Yes.
it's true, regardless if it's going to make it, regardless if it's going to make a change or not, or if it's
Yeah.
something crazy. They will come together
Exactly.
and they will support that idea. But us, it's like, well, prove it to me first.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know, but I'm so easy to go and waste money on other businesses that are not supporting us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not investing on ourselves. We're not investing on one another. We're investing on other people
Exactly.
who don't
We
give
ha-
a nothing about us.
exactly. We have to redefine how we see ourselves and how we see our community. Our
Yeah,
community is worth investing in. Our community is worth loving.
yeah,
Every day I wake up and I go for a walk every morning, and I say good morning to people. It's so strange because I don't know if you've ever been to New York. I don't know whoever's
yes.
listening ever been in New York. No one says good morning in New York, right? Like, it's weird. But
I'm actually from upstate New York, Albany,
okay, yeah,
Albany. People don't say hi around here. If people say
exactly.
hi to you, it's because they're kind people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. You have to put yourself out there and say, you know what? I'm going to take the first step because I know that our community is worth enough
Yes.
to foster some kindness,
Yeah.
because that's the glue that holds us together, the love and the kindness. And saying, and it sounds so corny, it sounds so whack, but it's true.
It sounds corny because it's not something that we've been um, taught to do. We've
Yes.
been conditioned again to do all the things that are going to keep us separated.
Yes,
Anything that
exactly.
sounds positive, it's like it would be like, oh, Miss Rosa, please stop that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, listen, okay, I'm telling you the truth now. If you act like this when you're going into high school, when you're going into college,
Exactly.
I'm telling you, you are going to have such a hard time with you and making it. And you don't want to, one, look stupid. Two,
Yeah.
you're gonna feel so bad about yourself that you're gonna start regretting all the decisions that you're making right now
Yes.
in this very moment. And
Yes.
that's how I try to like teach, because it's the real. If we don't teach realistic, I feel like we're just creating more of a chaos for our own communities and the world, you know?
So true.
So even
So
with
very
you,
true.
if I was you, you should go and find somebody like you who look like you and
Mm-hmm.
help them and
Yeah.
help them. You know what I mean? If you know kids and stuff like that, because I feel like the kids obviously are the future. And I'm hoping that even with my son, I'm able to make a huge difference because he has a great heart, you know? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to help him,
Yeah.
sure that he doesn't lose his way through like people making fun of him because he's different. He's African American, he's Latino. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I always tell him, like if somebody says anything negative about you, it's not about you.
Yeah, it's not about
Is
you.
that they don't see many like you where they live.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have anybody who looks like you. And your dreadlocks, nobody has dreadlocks around them. So
Yeah,
of course they're gonna say your hair is weird. Of course they're
exactly.
gonna say you look like this and you look, ugly or whatever, because they're not used to it.
And a lot of times when we're taught fear and we're taught that different is dangerous, that's what is reflected in that, right?
Yeah.
It's not that you're ugly, it's not that you're dangerous, it's that you're different and that people are afraid of
Of
that difference.
difference. Yes,
Yeah.
people are afraid of the difference, and people, to be honest, they're afraid of kids telling an adult that they're wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I know there's so many who think that just because you're an adult, you can talk to a kid disrespectful, call them names. And I'm like, no, respect goes both
Both
ways.
ways. Well, how scary is it for the people who've had all of the power,
Mhm.
of the world to be in a position where they have to give that power up?
Yeah.
Be in a position where they don't know everything, when
Yep.
they've based their security on the fact that they know everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now the world is being ready to be turned over to a generation who doesn't want the same old,
Yeah.
who doesn't want to accept racism, who doesn't want to accept misogyny, who doesn't want to accept all of these things, right?
Who doesn't want to keep ignoring things that are wrong that continue
Yeah,
to happen? You know what I mean?
exactly.
And that's the part where, like, even with my son, I know that he went through experiences in school where he was pushed so far to the point to for him to lie about something that he didn't do just because of the pressure that was being given to him. And then
Wow.
after that, I told my son, I was like, don't you ever, I don't care who it is, it could be Barack Obama, it could be anybody. I don't care who it is. If you did not do something, you do not say yes, you committed that crime, or you did, or did something that you didn't do. Stick to
Yeah,
your word, be
that's so important.
strong. And they teach them, well, I know he did it. Well, how do you know he
Wow.
did it? Even though you didn't see it,
Exactly.
but because there's pressure and other people come and they're like putting that pressure on you. And
Yeah.
that's what happens with people who get criminalized and they go sent to jail. They put that pressure that, hey, if you don't say you're guilty, you're gonna have to go through the court. You have to go through the court, and they're gonna give you 30 years in prison. So they put
Yeah.
that fear in you, and then that fear draws you to make that decision of,
Exactly.
okay, I did it.
Fear is a dangerous thing
You
because
know?
fear takes you off of your rational thinking and projects this image of what can happen. And a lot of times it's not going to happen. A lot of times it's not real, but fear tells us, and fear is a very human thing, right? Keeps us
Yep.
from putting our hand in a fire. It keeps us from jumping in an ocean that if we don't know how to swim. Keeps us
Yep.
from jumping off of a building, right? It's fear that keeps us from doing certain things, but uncontrolled fear, right?
Yep.
Anything, freedom without discipline, undisciplined fear
Yep.
is going to lead to chaos in our lives.
Fear from starting to, like even with my lower back, like the fear of coming back to working out the way
Yeah.
I work out, because I love working out, like it's crazy, like I love being healthy and working out, but the fact that I have to, like I'm always afraid that my back is gonna give out again, and
Mm.
then I'm like, okay, I don't want to do anything, but now I'm like, okay, let's figure out a different way to still
Yeah.
work out instead of giving up, right? Instead of just
Yeah.
letting me down. Like I will, I cannot not be active. So I have to find a way. And I'm always trying to find a different way to do things, even though it's not the way that everybody else is doing it, because not
Yeah.
everybody has back issues, lower back issues, you know? Um,
Exactly.
but it's learning that yourself, who you are,
Exactly.
you know? If you can't do something right now, figure out a different way.
Exactly.
You can't pay for something that you want to do. Okay, so read about it, learn about it, keep searching, doing your research, write it down. Like I always have this,
Yeah.
my notebook, and I, like I told you, like I write quotes down, I just write things down because I'm like, I'm organized like that, one, and two, it allows me to express myself even better.
Yes. It's important.
So
Writing is so important because we always have these thoughts and we think we're gonna remember them for 1,000 years, and it's always better to document. And even it's good to document where you are in one point of your life so that you can mark your progress, right?
oh yeah, yeah. I remember one of my journals I listed. I wrote, I used to curse because I was in so much pain,
Yeah.
and that was one way for me to get rid of that pain. And my notebook is not gonna judge me.
Exactly.
It can't curse me back.
Exactly.
I can curse it all
Yeah.
I want, but I was able to find a way to let those emotions out, even though I was still not healing. But
Yeah.
it helped me at that time, at that moment. Even listening to music, it helps me. But music that is going to allow you to grow mentally. So
Yes, exactly.
I've come to a point that I can't really communicate with you unless you have something that is going to make my mind think.
Yeah.
Something different that I'm like, oh yes, I'm gonna try that. But
Unless
if
you're
you
an asset.
an asset, not a
Mhm.
liability for
Exactly.
sure, you know.
Exactly.
Um, but one last thing for you. What
Hmm.
is it that you will say to another boy, young adult like you, who
Hmm.
could be going through it in life, whether it is homelessness, whether it is being in drugs, or just getting themselves into trouble in school and not focusing? What would you say to them?
I would say, even though this is a hard concept to wrap your mind around, but most concepts that are worth it are: purpose is never personal. Purpose is never personal. Purpose is never personal. When we do something and when we want to do something in life that is going to make impact, it should not just be in a selfish way. Anytime that we do something in a selfish manner, it is going to either not last or it's going to hurt us.
Mm,
Think about drinking, think about engaging in crime, think about engaging in all these type of things when it's for just us and for the flash and for look at me, everybody, it doesn't last or it ends really bad. But if we do it, if we do things to have positive impact on other people, if we do things to leave lasting legacies for other people, if we do things to set up systems where other people can be happy and to thrive and be loved, then that's what grows us inside, right? You don't want to make bad decisions because you know it's not just about you. It's about your son or your daughter or your brother or your mother or your grandmother, the people in your life that don't want to see you go through horrible things, right?
mm,
You don't want to be in positions where you are living lower than you can live, not because you're selfish, but because you have people around you that want to see you succeed. Or if you don't have people around you now, you have people in the future that you can inspire to be better by seeing you come up, right?
Yeah.
If even on the positive side, right? If you go to college or if you go to school like you did, Miss Rosa, right? You have people that you can tell your son, look, I did this. Right. I
Mm-hmm.
came from a background of not having a lot of opportunity, but I made it. I did all these things. I accomplished goals. I left something behind. Right. So where you might have thought that you were just doing college for yourself, you're doing it for other people. You're doing it for your son to watch you. You're doing it for the kids who are going to watch this. You're doing it for me because it inspired me as well. Right. I would tell that person, whatever you do, make sure that it's something when you leave it behind, something, whether you leave the room or whether you leave life or whether you leave whatever, when you leave it behind, someone can use it in a positive way.
Yeah.
How are you talking to people? How are you engaging with people? How are you loving people? That's going to be positive
Yeah.
when you're not there anymore.
And then how would you, and thank you for that. And how would you say about with your experience, specific with your experience where you was using everything that you was doing
Mm-hmm.
not to benefit you, because when COVID hit, it really hit home. So
Yeah.
what would you tell people about even just investing in their in themselves? What are the few small steps that they could start doing so that that doesn't happen?
Well, you have to realize where you're spending your money and when you're and investment is more than just money, right? It's money, it's time, it's effort, emotion, all these things. What you have to realize when you're investing, why you're investing, right? And where you're investing. Are you investing in something that has a return? I'm
Mm.
not going to, I used to invest all of my money into alcohol. What's the ROI? What's
What
the
is that
return
giving
on a
back? Yeah.
exactly? What's the
What is that
return on
giving back?
investment?
Mhm.
Exactly. If it doesn't have a yield of growth or it doesn't have a positive yield, then you shouldn't be investing that into
Mm.
that thing, right? If
Yep.
I have a gym membership, right,
Mhm.
and I'm using it, there's going to be a return on investment. But if
Yes.
I have a gym membership and all I'm doing is going there and talking to girls and not really performing, then I might have to find something else to do to increase my health. I might have to go to a different gym. You have to
Yeah.
always be analyzing what is the return on investment. And the
Yeah.
biggest return on investment is not what we see in ourselves. I'll say this, and I know I'm a little bit long-winded, but I'll say
No, no,
this
you're good.
the three ways that we impact people's lives, the three levels of human impact. First is by words, what we
Mm.
say to people, right? The good mornings or the negativity, right? What we say to people. That's the first level. Then it's what we do, right? How we treat people, not just saying words, but our
Action.
actions.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And the highest level of impact is inspiration.
Mm.
Do we inspire people to do? What do we teach people around us to do? What do we show people enough that they want to do it themselves? So
Yeah.
biggest return on investment is not how it looks on you, but how what you do looks on other people.
Mm.
How what you do in your life, how it shines and makes other people want to shine as well. That's the biggest return on investment. If
Wow.
if if I'm not investing in something that's going to make someone else better, then I don't really want to invest in it.
Yep. And that's like truth, realistic in some way that I think a lot of people don't hear that type of talk that you just, what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for example, like if you're just spending money on, let's put it like this, nails.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are those nails? Who are you doing those nails for? Because there is a difference between looking good and actually like doing it for a good reason
Mm-hmm.
versus doing it just to please others and for others to look at you, right? So
Exactly.
it goes with simple things like your nails, pedicure, and because that costs like $70, maybe that's the lowest, getting your
Yeah.
your feet done. I may get that done once a year, maybe, you know what I mean, maybe.
Exactly.
But also clothing, I've noticed that I've changed just even like if I have a set of clothes and I don't buy anymore, and every time like if I buy a new shirt I get rid of one,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, because
Yeah.
I get rid of it or I go and I donate it or something. But also like sneakers,
Yeah,
Sneakers is a huge thing. You spend $200 on sneakers. Okay, that's cool. But are you taking care of those sneakers? Or
exactly.
are you just jumping in puddles and playing basketball with them and ruin them, and then you have to get another 200 and something dollar sneakers?
Yeah,
That's not really giving you something back, right?
exactly.
You're not really investing, and you're not really spending your money wisely, you
And you
know?
have to ask the question too: do you need the $200 pair of sneakers, or can you make it with the
Yeah.
$40 pair?
Do you need it, or is it something that you can actually say, you know what, let me try, figuring out how to shop better, right? Like
Yeah,
finding things online 50% off and things like that, or a different brand, because it's not, I've never bought Jordans.
me neither.
Never, never.
Never,
So
never.
many people buy Jordans, and I'm like, I don't understand. I'm sure it's a comfortable sneaker, but if I don't need it, I'm not gonna spend it, you know?
But it's the name, and this is the thing that I try to tell people, right? And name is so important. What you call yourself and what you wear on you is so important, because we walk around and we're free billboards and free advertisements to all of these brands, and we're paying to advertise them.
Yeah.
We're paying to wear
Yep.
their name,
Yep.
right? It doesn't make no sense to me. I wear my name.
What are you getting?
Exactly.
They're getting richer. And what are you getting? What are we getting in
and,
return?
and,
What
and you
is
know
it
what
that
it
we're
is?
doing?
It's we've, like we spoke about earlier, we train ourselves to think certain things. So we condition ourselves to think we only have value if we have that Jordan, or if we have that Gucci, or if we have that Louis Vuitton, right? And it's not that. Your value, it sounds so corny, but again, it's true. Your value comes from inside. It comes from, you could be wearing all of the Gucci, Louis, everything, all of that stuff. But if you don't have something to offer them, if you don't have something to offer the world, if you don't have something to offer your neighbor, what is that all
Or
for?
even yourself.
Or even yourself.
Because
Or
there's a
even
difference,
yourself.
and I don't want people to mistake this. There's a difference between looking good and
Mm-hmm.
being presentable versus overspending on things that you don't need to
Yeah.
be spending, because we
Yeah.
don't want you to be dirty and not
Yeah.
take. Please, please, please,
Yeah.
please, please.
Yeah. No, don't be
Like a
dirty.
complete extreme. We don't want that.
Yeah.
But again, is the assets and liabilities when it comes to friends, families, and people that don't allow you to grow in the person that you want to become.
For
And
sure.
don't be afraid to try things that one is going to help you. So if you're trying, you have a vision of making something, go for it, do it, make it happen. Nobody can stop you, right? And that's where it comes with liabilities, with people, negative people who say, nah man, you suck at that, don't do that, that's corny, that's this, that's, don't listen to them. Now,
Yeah.
when you have the assets, have people and find people who actually support you. And the number one thing is support yourself. Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Because
1000%.
once you believe in yourself, you don't need nobody else.
Yeah.
Everybody else that comes is just an asset.
Exactly.
It's just like a push.
And when you believe in yourself, right, it attracts other people. Why
Yes.
would anyone want to invest in a business that doesn't believe in itself?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Why would anyone want to be around anything that is negative on itself? In order for you to really genuinely attract good people around you, you got to think good about yourself. You got to think positive about yourself. And it sounds like it's so lofty, but it's not. It really isn't. Look at would you want to be around someone who's always negative? Would you want to be around someone who doesn't think that they are worth it? Or would you rather be around someone who's like, yo, I could do this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and be around those people who actually say, I can do this, but they're actually taking action.
Exactly. Not just talking, but actually doing
people
it.
Who say, yeah, man, let's do this. And then you hit them up later and they're like, man, nah, I can't do
Yeah.
man, nah, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So always be you. Always you take initiative and action. It's you.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start doing that, then later more people can follow you and can help you,
Yes.
with what it is that you're doing. But you don't need validation from nobody. So for me, like what I say, I'm 100% Latina. Yo puedo hablar en español, yo puedo hacer esto, yo puedo hacer todo esto, whatever it is. I'm weird in my own way. I'm me
Mm.
in my own way. And guess what? Like people can't make fun of me or whatever because I say, let's go, I'll size you up in basketball.
Yeah.
Whether you're a guy or not, like I will size you up and we'll play basketball and I'll beat you,
Yeah.
Just because I'm a girl, they think that they can beat me, but it always
Yeah.
it's always turned out to be they're always wrong. So I'm like, okay, remember when I beat you in basketball? I was like, tell everybody. And they're like, yeah, Miss Rose is really good. Miss Rose is really good. And I'm like, okay, we'll leave it like that. My action speaks louder than what I.
Exactly.
But I've
Exactly.
definitely heard people who are like, yeah, I be playing basketball, I be doing this, and a year goes by. Man, I haven't seen you in the gym.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, but again, thank you so much,
Thank you so
Kyle,
much.
for like being here and sharing your truth. And I really appreciate just you, the honesty that you gave about your, the drinking and your experiences with that. And the more real we can be, the
Yes.
the more of a bigger impact and difference we'll make. And
Yes.
it doesn't make you any less of a person just because you made those mistakes. If people want to judge, guess what? They're allowed to judge just like people who want to say positive things. They're allowed to
Yeah.
say positivity. And one of the things that even my son pointed out to me was there was this video, I think it was from um, somebody that we really like, I was teaching him about. And you know how on YouTube you see the thumbs up or thumbs down? So there was like thumbs up, it was like way more than thumbs down.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Mom, why do people pull thumbs down? And I'm like, because in the world there's always negative people, always.
Yeah.
But if you look at the thumbs up, it's half of more people are saying that it's a good thing than negative. So but
Yeah.
if you focus on the negative, you'll get stuck
Exactly.
on that, you know but I'm like, look at the number that is positive. That's gonna, that says a lot more than the negative, you know
Exactly. A
so
1000%.
that's how you gotta keep
Man,
it. So
this has been so great. Thank you again for having me on your platform. I appreciate you so much. I invite everyone who's watching, whether now or later, to come and join me on Finding Good Times on Instagram. We are an open community and we share stories and we love all peoples and we're looking to grow and grow with people.
yes,
So please come and join us.
that's cool. And that's your what is that, your logo that you've made?
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
how you came, so if you want to explain that quick, if you want to say that.
Just I'm a big believer of how what you call yourself is going to manifest, right? Your insides are going to manifest outwardly, and so what we say here at Finding Good Times is every moment is not going to be a happy one. Every moment is not going to be a sad one. Every
Mm-hmm.
moment is not going to be a victory. Every moment is not going to be a struggle. But if we can learn a lesson in every moment, if we can find the gratitude for every moment, then every moment can be good. So
Yeah,
that's where the word good comes
good
from.
content. Oh wow, that's awesome. And you're making those like hoodies and hats too, or?
Yeah, so it's gonna roll out a little bit later this year, but we're introducing a program where if you do something good in
Mhm.
your community, then you can, depending on what you do, you can choose one of these things and we send it out for you at no cost.
Wow.
Well, no shipping, you got to pay for shipping, but
Shipping, yeah, yeah,
yeah, but I don't want to just make it a thing where you can just buy it, right? Because anyone
mhm,
can buy it.
yeah,
I want good people to be wearing good. I want
yeah.
people to actually be engaged in the community and doing good things.
Okay, that's awesome. That's actually pretty cool idea. So anybody who's watching, if you're doing something good, then you can go, and it's a YouTube too and Instagram, because your Instagram too is Finding Good Times, right?
Yes, exactly.
So
Everything Finding Good Times.
everything is Finding Good Times. Not like me. Instagram are Latina mommies, and TikTok I'm Rosa for Latinas. I'm always
Hmm.
like rooting our Latina form.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
We
originality.
exactly. We definitely have to work together more often. I love your platform and I love what you're doing, Rosa. It's Miss
Thank
Rosa. It's
you.
really good.
Thank you so much. And guess what? Thank you for being here too. I really appreciate just the authentic, like being real, like authentic. How do you say authenticity? You see, I can
Authenticity.
authentic. Yes, that word. What you just said. Being realistic and just the fact that I think that you will be surprised how your story and how, and you know, like you always have the negative people, but just sharing the story with kids and in young adults, you will see a change in them, you know.
Yeah.
Because I didn't share all my story, but I know that when I share with my kids or the people that I work with, not adults, because adults are very vicious, but when I share it, they're like, oh wow, like I've had kids come up to me after I share mine and they say, Miss Rosa, I didn't even think that you went through something like that, but I actually was going through something like that. Or
Yeah.
my sister had to even sell herself to
Wow.
be able to make it and provide for me and my, you know, me and my other brother. And I'm like, wow, like, you know, just knowing your audience and
Yeah.
when to share it is also a good thing to know about, because
Yeah.
not everybody deserves to hear your story,
Exactly.
you know. So you will
Exactly.
make a better impact on people who really, like, you know, for a fact they will take that and internalize your experience and say, wow, if he could go through that and still come out and be so positive and change
Yeah.
life, then I can do it too, you know.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
can do it. So keep going, keep staying strong, and I'll see
Thank
you
you.
around. Okay. So
Thank you
this is
so
not enough
much.
time, but have a good night, everybody. And thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank
And
you.
follow Kyle at Finding Good Times in Instagram and YouTube and even Facebook, right? You have Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All
you,
right. Thank
all
you
right,
so much,
everybody.
guys. I'll see you. Bye.
Bye.